Today on Bible Conversations, we're going to be talking about the Keller Christian Preschool. All right, well, we have a special guest with us today, Kristi Weaver. She's one of the members here at Keller Church of Christ with Chris and I, and she is the director of our preschool, which is the topic of our podcast today. So, Kristi, do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners and even the special guest you brought with us, or you brought with you as well?
Yes, sure. Yes, I'm Kristi Weaver, and we've been members of Keller Church of Christ for 6.5 years, and I've got Cameron Weaver, who's been a member for 16 months. He's 16 months old, and he's my little partner in crime, and he can be seen with me wherever I go, pretty much. So, yeah.
So if you hear a baby in the background, that's Cameron wanting to make his voice heard on the podcast. So we're glad to have both y'all here today, and excited to get to talk about KCS.
Yeah.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So as we kind of begin, what is the importance of KCS to you? Why is it important that we have the Keller Christian School here?
I'm really glad you asked that question. It's something I've been thinking a lot about, and I think that a Christian preschool really sets the foundation for children. In Proverbs 22:6, we are told to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. And we know how important it is to have that Christian foundation. And so I think that's a primary goal for KCS in my mind. And it's kind of the foundation behind everything we do. I mean, at KCS, the kids do, it really is more than just a Mom's Day Out program. We have a solid curriculum that prepares the kids for kindergarten. So they do get the social and emotional skills. They get pre-reading skills, pre-writing skills, foundational math skills. We do science, we do music, art, all kinds of things. But the kids also get the weekly chapel, weekly Bible activity, and the teachers are always reminding their kiddos about the Bible verse of the month. Yeah. Bible themes flow throughout all of those other types of lessons, so it's very foundational. And I think that's huge because here, when they're only here 2 days a week, it's their really first experience having other influences in their life.
Yeah, outside of mom and dad.
Yes, outside of mom and dad. It's somewhat their peers, their friends, but everybody's still kind of spongy then, just taking everything in and not really putting out influence. But there's the teachers. As they go from here, and they do go to kindergarten, that age 5 and 6 is when outside influences really start to grow. And if we can plant the seeds of biblical truth, plant the seeds of Jesus's love, then when they go out into kindergarten and the rest of their lives, when they have big questions, they'll know that the place to seek those answers is the Bible, or is a person who knows the Bible that they can ask those questions to. And I just think that's really the most important thing that we can do, and I think we do it well at KCS.
I definitely agree. Chris and I, we get to interact with the kids once a week. Tuesday morning at 10:30, we do a little chapel. I do the singing. Chris handles the Bible lesson. And you can really see the kids grow throughout the school year. We didn't get to see that as much last year because everything was online, but we did a little bit before we went online, see the kids grow throughout the semester, and I'm really looking forward to that this year as well, as they learn the songs and go from watching me sing the songs on the first week to singing them with me by the end of the school year. And Chris, I'm sure you can see this as well when you're teaching the lessons. It's more that they grow from just staring at you to actually listening to you.
Yeah. Well, and even more so with 2 to 4 year olds, right? They go from looking around everywhere else to actually paying attention, right? Because they know it's an important part of the day. And Alyssa and I do something alongside of chapel. It's a little video for Alan the Owl. And, this is Alan the Owl, just for those of you who aren't aware, is a little puppet that we use that is very knowledgeable about the Bible. And the name actually stems from my middle name, Alan. And so it just flowed, Alan the Owl. And so we use him. He's actually sitting right up there. He's something that I think the kids look forward to right now. And, and so generating excitement and generating the feeling of being a Christian can be fun. I think is so important, because we oftentimes view Christianity as we see others, right, as not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And the reality is, man, that was the Mosaic Law. Like, you had to do this and you had to do that. And Christianity is so much more.
Yeah.
It is. And, just teaching Jesus loves me. And that's the start, really, for a lot of these kids. And so, this is a place of warmth, a place of love, a place where they feel comfortable and they enjoy coming. This year has been really interesting. I expected the normal hiccups, the normal tears and stuff at the beginning of the school year. But honestly, this is one of the smoothest starts to the year. And
really?
It's interesting because many of these kids have never been to any kind of preschool, and they really lacked a lot of social interaction because of COVID and how we've been trying to be safe in that kind of a circumstance. But they've really had a great year, and I'm glad that this is a safe place for them, that already they feel welcome here. And now it makes that much easier for us to teach them about Jesus.
Which is really impressive that they already feel welcome and at home, considering last year they didn't go anywhere.
No.
So, and I wanted to ask a little bit more about you and your work with KCS. So this is your third year that you're beginning, right?
This is my fifth year in total, but third year as the director.
Third year as director, okay.
So my first year was the year that COVID shut everything down.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I was given a white binder that had here's what you do and when, and that binder became a paperweight because we didn't do anything we would have. And then, of course, in year two, we just never opened back up for beginning with COVID, and then, the building had some issues, and so we just didn't come back in person. But what we did was create at-home learning program so that we could stay connected somewhat to our families, and I think that was helpful. But there's definitely an eagerness to be back.
We saw the evidence of how helpful that was doing online, because when we had VBS this past summer, all of those families from KCS, they were still connected and came to VBS with us, and so it shows that they families that don't worship with us on a weekly basis were still connected and wanted to bring their kids to VBS.
Yes.
And so that I think it shows that everything that y'all were doing online actually worked. It kept people in tune.
Yeah. And that was really refreshing to see that, because it's tricky, and I'm not a very technologically savvy person, so I learned a lot of new tricks. I don't know if I learned them well, but I did learn some new tricks, and I'm glad it did keep some families connected. And that's the goal, too. I mean, we talk so much about training up the children and how they should be and how they should live, but it's also a ripple effect out to their parents or their grandparents, their siblings, and the community as a whole. Because when you can, speaking as a mom, if someone shows great love to my child, I'm automatically more open to conversations with that person as well. And so while our primary goal is this foundation for the children so that they grow in the Lord, it's also for their families, because who knows that the first time mom and dad or grandma and grandpa ever heard about Jesus was because their child came home and told them about Jesus. Yeah. And that's what KCS does. That's
awesome.
Well, I think, so all this conversation really reminds me of Matthew chapter 19, verse 13. Then children were brought to him that he might lay his hands on them and pray. The disciples rebuked the people, but Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." I mean, the whole purpose of what we do, as we've been talking about this whole time, right, is to show them the Christ, to show them Jesus, show them the love of Christ. And we can only do that by interacting with them and letting them know that we love them. And we love them because Jesus loves them and because Jesus loves us. And it's just a powerful way to start off a kid's schooling years. I know right now when you get into kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade in public schools, you can't really talk about Jesus. You can't talk about Christ. And so to have a foundation of Jesus, right, that was started when you were 2 years old, I think is just awesome.
It is. And I'll add to that. In Matthew also, a little bit before what you just read, it says, "Anyone who welcomes a little child like this on my behalf welcomes me." This is how we welcome Christ too. Yeah. And so I think that's important. And our teachers at KCS are so amazing about just being a safe place for the kids. And they already do feel welcome here. And again, that makes the teaching and sowing those seeds so much easier. So
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about some of the staff that we have here at KCS. We have an awesome group of teachers and assistants, and I guess you're the music teacher as well as director. So, how do you see the folks from Keller who've volunteered and have been hired to work at KCS? How do you see that helping with the camaraderie within the church itself?
Oh, it's huge because, and I know it seems like it's getting better, but for years, most people really didn't know that Keller Preschool is here,
Yeah.
you know? And I feel like that's changing because the focus is definitely more that KCS is a tool for our church to love the community as a whole, which is what we're supposed to do. And so with the teachers, it's so amazing how it always falls into place because they have very specific skill sets that seem to match exactly the needs that are developmentally appropriate for the ages that they teach. Debbie Davis is a perfect example. I don't know anybody in the world who can work with 2-year-olds the way that she does. And my Ava was in her class the first year she took over twos for KCS, and there were a few weeks where she didn't have a helper, so it was just Debbie and 8 2-year-olds.
Oh my!
My Ava being one of them, and you know her, and she's wonderful in every way and very energetic. But
very energetic.
I remember walking into the snack room, and that's where we also often do art. And Debbie wanted to show them the inside of an apple and have them one at a time dip it in paint and make apple prints. Right. So I walk in, and all 8 of the 2-year-olds are sitting around the table, patiently waiting for their turn to stamp an apple. And I'm just in awe of this woman who didn't have a helper at the time. It's not like there was someone helping keep everyone under control.
It was amazing that they weren't running crazy around the room or anything.
No, she's the perfect balance of firm, discipline. Yeah. But that love, they all feel at home with her, and they learn so much from her. She's just incredible. And in fact, I often, if there's any bigger decisions I feel like we should make for KCS, I will ask her because I really appreciate her perspective and what it means for the littlest of who we teach. You know what I mean? And then this year, our helper for her class is Lauren Bailey, who's a new member at our church, but she brings this totally different personality to the class that's so bubbly and warm and fun, and it's such a cool class. I almost wish I could be 2 in there. Yeah. And then
Cameron's smiling and talking. He's going to be 2 in there next year.
He sure is. He's excited about being in Miss Debbie's class.
Oh, yeah.
And we have Kristi Smith, who's so amazing, too. And many people probably recognize these names because these are very active people busy at the Lord's work all the time. And they're focusing a lot of energy on KCS. But Kristi Smith is amazing to take on the 3s kind of last minute. And I learned a thing or two about prayer. I mentioned before we started talking that I'm very much more like Martha than I should be, and I should be more like Mary. There's just so much work to be done, and I can feel like I need to do it by myself. And we desperately needed a teacher for that class a couple of weeks before KCS started. And finally, for the first time, I prayed about it. I laid in bed one night worried about it, and I thought, I have not prayed about this. So I did. And the very next day, Kristi called me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, thanks God for that lesson. And thanks, Kristi. And so she's literally an answer to prayer for me, but I'm sure for all of those children because she's already amazing in that classroom. And of course, we have Mary Carl for the 4-year-olds, and she's absolutely phenomenal. What she can teach the kids and be very responsive to individual needs, individual learning styles, and all of the teachers.
Because as they get older, about 4 years old, you really get to see the different learning styles.
Yes, absolutely.
The kids are developing even more of their own personality.
Yes, and that's where the 3s and 4s really get more of the official curriculum. We have 2 different workbooks for them that are appropriate for that level of development. And so the 4s, it really does pick up. Nothing too intense because they're kids. You have to let them be little. But we want to prepare them the best we can for kindergarten. And it works. My 2 girls were prepared for kindergarten because of KCS. But we make the time to respond to the kids' needs individually. And so if that means slowing something down or speeding something up, all of the teachers are so in tune to that. But we keep the class sizes small. And that's a big reason for that. So. But they're great servants of the Lord, and we're so blessed to have them here with us at KCS. So.
And then I think we missed one, the arts and crafts teacher, right?
Oh, well, Miss Becky, Becky Goodnight, she is our teacher's aide.
Oh,
so
okay.
she's kind of a Jill of all trades, I guess you could say. So she helps, if we do have someone out unexpectedly and we can't get a sub, she's a built-in sub, and then I'm built-in sub number 2. And so if we get in a situation, and sometimes in flu season we do, it's all hands on deck. But otherwise, on a normal day, you know, she's going to help with setting up snack. If the teachers need some supplies from the room, especially since they're upstairs and the office is downstairs, she'll help to run those up and help with potty breaks as needed and make sure everybody's safe on the playground. She's all over the place, so she's definitely doing a little bit of everything here. So
that's great.
Well, that's awesome. I just want to commend you as well as all the other ladies who are participating with KCS and helping out and teaching it, because it is such a wonderful ministry. And I think we lose sight of the idea that everything that we do is a ministry, right? And it is for a purpose.
Absolutely.
And the purpose is to advance the gospel. The purpose is to advance Christ, and the purpose is to teach these kids about Jesus. And so I just want to commend y'all for that. You know, I think Dylan and I play a small part in that.
We try to do what we can,
I think it's bigger than a small part.
Well, time-wise, it's a small part, right? We're there 15, 20 minutes,
but the impact is huge.
And that's really the point, right? You guys are only with them for 2 days out of the week.
Right.
And even then for 3 years, right? 2 days out of the week over the course of 3 years, discluding summers, right? Not including holidays, not including all these things. And so there's a lot of time that you're not with them, but the impact that is left on those kids from the time that they are here, I don't think it can be discounted. And I think that goes to even a greater concept with our Christian faith, right? Our Christian walk is we don't know the impact we're going to have on people until we have an impact on people. Right? So anyway, I do want to commend you for everything that you're doing with KCS and all of the stuff that you're doing outside of that, because it is a lot too. But it's just I'm very glad and very proud that KCS is a part of Keller.
Amen to that. I am proud to say when I talk with folks about all of the ministries that we have here at Keller, all of the things that we have going on, KCS is one of the first things that come to mind, because it is such a great tool and a great resource to not only reach out to the community, but also to plant those seeds, to teach about Christ, and it's working great. Well, we talk about it, working great, like almost like, we just started it, it's working great. KCS has been around for years and years.
Yes, since at least the 80s, but we did find recently in the office a film. I don't even know how we look and see what's on it because it's so old, but it actually has some date from the 70s written on it. But
wow. So
KCS has been around since at least the 80s.
For almost 50 years, probably.
That's awesome.
Over 40 for sure. So,
that is awesome.
It's amazing, and it's grown so much since then. And I think the more intentional we are about seeing it as a ministry, the more that it grows, because I think its true purpose, that foundation there of Christ in the life of these children and their families. We've only been in session this year for, this is our 3rd week, and I've already had moms tell me that, there goes my car alarm. I've already had moms tell me they're singing Bible songs at home I didn't know they knew.
That's awesome.
And we've only been together with them for 3 weeks. And like you said, we only meet 2 days a week. It's not like we're with them all the time. And music class is 15 to 30 minutes long. Chapel's, 20, 30 minutes long. So they're already bringing home these Bible songs that their parents didn't know they knew.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So that's one of my favorite stories. I have to tell a story that I was reminded of based on that. So after we had VBS this past year, I was singing for about 15 minutes every single night with the kids before and after they did the crafts and snacks and Bible lesson and everything. So we went through a lot of VBS songs during that short week that we had VBS. Yeah. And afterwards, I had parents coming up to tell me, and I think you might have been one of them, saying that their kids were singing those songs at home. There was one mom saying that their kids were playing VBS, like the oldest kid was pretending to be me and sing the songs, and then have their sibling walk their youngest sibling to class afterwards and dismiss them to class. And it's that kind of thing that I'm just like, that is so awesome, because then it's sticking with them. Mm-hmm. That they're, like you said, they're little sponges. They're soaking everything in. And even those songs that just stick in their mind, they're going to get into high school and off to college and become adults one day and hear that song, and then they'll be like, oh, so many memories flooding back. That happens with me all the time. I'll just be listening to music on Spotify, and then as it shuffles around and plays something, I'll remember myself being in elementary school and hearing my dad play that song on the radio, some kind of Christian song that I haven't heard in years. And it's incredible what sticks with kids, and it makes me smile.
Yeah. And incorporating that music is huge. That really is a great teaching tool for kids, and even as adults, you say it brings things back. And, I'm always surprised at the end of the year when our 4-year-olds graduate and we're saying farewell as they go to kindergarten. We like to prepare them with some songs, but we ask them what their favorite songs were that they learned throughout their time at KCS. And every year, without prompting, every class says Blue Skies and Rainbows.
Really?
And that blows my mind, but it's such a beautiful song.
It is, yeah.
And for them to want to share that with their families at a graduation ceremony, but hopefully take that song and its meaning with them is just amazing. And we hope that's what they do. You know, so.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like to say about KCS, about your ministry, about anything that you've got going on?
KCS really is just a special place, and that's what I say about it all the time, but it really is. And I'd encourage any of our members that if you want to be involved, to come and see me or call me or email me, because we can always use some help with volunteers, maybe preparing the Bible activities or science activities. We have Sandy McGee comes, and she's a professional storyteller, and once a month she comes and shares that gift with us. So she'll tell stories. So there are so many ways that maybe I haven't thought of that you might be able to serve our children, and we would love to have that conversation. And even if you don't have the capacity to volunteer, I totally understand, but just pray for our teachers and the work that they do. Pray especially for the children and for their families, so that more of the community experiences the love of Jesus the way they ought to, and perhaps we can bring them in to start having those Bible conversations with them. Yeah. I mean, it can... I
like the tie-in there.
Yes, there you go.
That's perfect. No, I think prayer is the most powerful tool we have, and we don't even realize it.
Absolutely.
So absolutely, if nothing else, certainly pray for KCS and the great work that's going on there. Yeah. So, well, Kristi, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and talking with us about this. And thank you for bringing Cameron. I know he's been entertainment for Chris, if nothing else.
He's pretty cute.
He's playing peekaboo. Yeah, Cameron is such a cute little boy. Well, anyways, thank you so much for coming on. And for our listeners, if you want to know more about KCS, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to connect you with Kristi, and she is more than welcome to pass on any information that you're seeking. So stay tuned and listen to how you can contact us and ways that you can help us out.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Bible Conversations. We want to encourage you to check out our proud partners in Ministry League. They have a website as well as an app that you can download from your smartphone.
Yeah, not only that, but also be sure to send us an email. You can reach us at kcocbibleconversations@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, what your thoughts and comments are on today's episode.
And if you have any questions or any comments, anything that you would like to let us know, please send us a text at the following number, 972-905-0856.
Yeah, and that way we'll be able to get that comment and get back with y'all as well. And please leave reviews and comments. I know there's a lot of places that you listen to this podcast that you can leave comments and reviews. I know Apple Podcasts, I'm pretty sure iHeartRadio and others, you can leave reviews and comments as well.
And last, but most certainly not least, we ask that you share this with your friends. We do our best to provide biblical and strong discussion, and we hope that you can feel free to share that with everybody that you love and come in contact with. Thank you all so much for all of your support. We love you.